Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hanging Out with Howie. We have a very different and unusual night here. I always try to find something different and a topic that has not been covered before. So I have two non-industry folks on here tonight. They are not in the music industry and they are not DJs, but we are going to get their opinion of us mobile DJs and what has been their experience. So please welcome Lori Kilmer. Hello, Lori.
Hi, Howie. How are you?
Good. And we have Kelly Salvatero with us.
Hi.
Welcome, Kelly.
How are you?
Good. Thank you both for being on.
Sure.
So, the elephant in the room. Lori, what has been your experience, whether it be weddings or, company functions, reunions, whatever?
Well, I've been to quite a few in my lifetime, but a few that stand out would be the craziest thing that ever happened was when a DJ actually tried to pull me out of my seat to join a conga line, and I just wasn't feeling it. So I kind of pulled back and did not give in, but he was, harping away on the microphone and, trying to get me to get in this conga line, and I wasn't having it. So,
Did that make you feel uncomfortable to have a stranger touching you?
Well, it did. I'm not one to join a line like that. I love to dance. I'm the first person out on the dance floor, but I don't like being in a line with strangers having their hands on my shoulders or waist or whatever and dancing around the room. So it's just like a personal thing. I don't mind watching it. Everybody's having a great time, but I didn't appreciate being pulled out of my seat.
Wow. Now that's something. How about you, Kelly? Have you had any experiences like that?
Nothing quite like that, but the one that sticks out for me is I was at a wedding and the DJ announced, so the couple was coming out for the first time and they were going to have their dance. And when the DJ announced the name, he kind of butchered it, and we all were just like, oh, because, he obviously had been in touch with them for quite a while before the reception. So it was shocking. And we were all like, oh, that's not their last name. So it was introducing the newlyweds and it was interesting.
So what did this particular DJ do to recover? Did he just move on or did he actually get the right name?
I think that from what I can recall, I think that he sort of made a joke about it. I don't think he even realized it right away. And then after it was a little bit of time had lapsed and everyone was just kind of stuffed. It was like, wait, what? And at that moment, I think then from my recollection, I'm pretty sure that he passed it off as a little bit of a joke and tried to regroup. And then, and then they danced and everyone kind of forgot about it. But,
was it an overall successful event other than that?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So the majority of your experiences, Lori, have they been, for lack of a better term, cheesy DJs that we had talked about?
I got to tell you, cheesy is the word. Okay. I hate to even say it. It's almost like someone woke up one day and said, hey, I think I'll be a DJ. It's not, I thought every DJ was like this. In other words, they come in, I thought were playing music that they wanted because no one was on the dance floor. Now, I've since learned that the bride and groom or whoever is hiring you gives you a list primarily. But if you see that the dance floor is empty, I would think you would change what you were doing. But I've been to so many where there was a bare dance floor. And so people were just at the bar trying to make up for it, I guess.
How about you, Kelly? What's been your experience over the years?
Yeah, I would say pretty positive for the most part, because I had really only been, around DJs for a prolonged period of time where I was like listening and involved with the music at weddings mostly. But I was at an event, actually it was like 2 weeks ago, and I realized like the art of like this guy was like mixing, and he was standing there and he was just dancing to his own stuff, and like so like, and it was kind of like a different event to be providing music for. It was like a Father's Day thing, but it was at kind of like this bar setting. And then there were like old cars there that they were showing. So it was really interesting. And I think what made it really enjoyable was that he was enjoying he was enjoying it so much. And like everyone was kind of watching him like, oh my gosh, this is really fun. And it sounded great. So, and I think that was kind of like a hard thing to pull off, just because it was Father's Day in like an outdoor kind of bar setting with these like kind of cars being shown. So it was unique, and it was kind of cool. It was really neat.
Wow, that's wonderful that you had a great experience like that, because that's what we at least here in the Disc Jockey News family and the Chill Room family try to educate the up and coming DJs and so forth to do, and certainly not be, like Lori said, cheesy and put on that radio voice. Hi there, this is Howie. Get up out of your seats and dance. Raise your hands right now, everybody. Come on now. How about you over there, Lori? Come on, get out of your seat and join that conga line. Or I'm going to come over there and grab you by the arm.
Wow. I actually went to a nice one 2 years ago. And what was nice about it was the only time I actually heard the DJ was when he was, excited to announce the bride and groom. And the rest of the event was seamless. Again, I've been to so many where DJs were talking like the whole time. I don't know, like a radio DJ. That's what it reminded me of, like a radio DJ at a venue. And that's like, I think it's like a different type of event, really, than, it just, I like the invisible kind of thing without being led through what they want me to do. I don't like it.
Yeah, most people, when we talked about this on an earlier show, and it was actually Brian that brought it up, and it's interesting. It's like we're both of the same opinion. Somebody on a microphone tells me to do something, my first instinct is no. I'm not. I don't take orders very well. So Kelly, you had a good positive experience. Was that DJ on the microphone a lot, or he was just enjoying and mixing the music and really into it that brought you that joy?
So interestingly enough, he's a friend of, he's the boyfriend of one of my friends. So it was the first time I had met him. So we got to sit kind of under the tent and like, and so he was kind of showing me as he was doing it, because I was like, this is so neat. And he was like, picking two songs that were just so different, but that generally people really liked and were familiar with, and then mixing them. And he was like, yeah, you just had, and it would, I don't know, just the whole thing was really interesting to me, because it was very, very different from what I had seen before and experienced before, which is typically like a wedding kind of setting or something like that. So yeah, I thought it was neat. And he was really interacting with the people who are coming in and out of the bar. He seemed to know everybody, and everyone was coming up to him, and they were having a positive experience as well. So yeah, so I think all of it kind of together was really pleasant.
That's interesting that you used the term, his art before, because it really is an art form of sorts to take two songs you wouldn't think would go together and blend them seamlessly, if possible, or you even just hit it on the one so it will transition. We use the word transitions, and there are many different ways of transitioning. We don't always have to beat match. Sometimes we use things that we call harmonic mixing, and sometimes it's called just a slam, where you want to change the energy of the room. So I'm just so I'm elated that you use that term. So Lori, you had a completely different viewpoint before you started, hanging out and watching some of the shows. And what is your opinion now of the folks you've seen in this chill room?
Frankly, before I started watching the shows, and there are so many wonderful shows on YouTube, because it's fascinating to me. Obviously, I'm not going to become a DJ, but it's fascinating. I always thought that people just kind of showed up, played the music. I never saw lighting, like other than the lighting that's already at a venue. Mm-hmm. But the lighting that's being done by the professionals that are in this group of DJs is phenomenal. And it adds so much to the event. But honestly, so many of the weddings that I've been to, and my goodness, graduation parties, 25th wedding anniversaries, I've been to all different kinds of events. They just seem to maybe have light up the DJ booth, but the rest is just lighting that's at the venue. So this, I feel like I'm at a concert almost when I see the different things that they're doing, and in person. It's amazing. So I'm thrilled. And I never knew that there was so much preparation, like the knowledge of the music and putting things into crates, and it's just so extensive. I don't think the average person realizes what goes into this job at all. Like, I had no clue.
Were you as fascinated as well, Kelly, when he let you back behind to see the controls and what he was doing?
Yes, because I'm a huge music fan. So,
that's...
Yeah, so I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is, how is he inserting all these different, the sound on top of it? How is he, and then I was asking him, do you plan this ahead of time? Do you plan, the sequence of the songs that you're going to play? And he's like, sometimes, but then, I feel out the environment that I'm at and what people are reacting to. And I guess there was, a little girl off to the side, and she was just dancing like crazy. So then he was pulling off her, and yeah, I thought the whole thing was very much more interactive than I had originally thought, and like you said earlier, just more. I realized the art behind it and how everything is very well thought out, and yeah, it was. I was impressed. I was very impressed.
It sounds to me like you had a very experienced DJ that was also an artist and was able to be. We are part psychologists, because some people use the term, read the room or read the crowd, but it's basically paying attention to the people. Like you mentioned, interacting with them and looking around. If something isn't working, we're looking for the toe tappers or the people that are singing along. And it's like, oh, okay, yes. Like your friend mentioned, yes, sometimes we do plan, but then we have to shift gears if they're not feeling it, but they're feeling something else. then we'll go into that. And I am so happy to hear that you had a positive experience, because there are a lot of people out there that, as mentioned earlier, that think, oh, I think I'll be a DJ, and it takes a little bit of time. It takes a little bit of time. So, is there anything that has changed your mind, about the mobile DJ?
I would have to say, I've heard people who are planning their weddings maybe remarking about, oh, that DJ, they're interviewing DJs and, oh, it's so expensive. But when you think about it, if you're paying like $12 a slice for the wedding cake, which that's the going price on some wedding cakes. So if you've got 100 guests, that's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. The cake is not what's carrying the event. The DJ, the music, the festivities, the energy from the crowd, knowing how to inspire that, I think, is huge. And people should not be skimping on the DJ because it's totally worth it. But I don't think most people understand the preparation and what goes into it. And I think if you could get that out there, I think people would be, thrilled to know what goes into preparation for an event at this level of the people that are in this chill room, that I've watched their things and just listened, and it's astounding. The destination weddings. I mean, there are people from all over the world that come into this room, and it's fascinating.
Yeah. So. Now, Kelly, what would you, just off the top of your head, if you were going to hire a DJ, what percentage do you think the DJ would play, as far as the success of the event?
Ooh, a lot. The thing is,
a lot?
So, if I were to hire, so for me in general, music is like a make or break kind of thing. Like, I think it's really, really important, and it enhances a lot. Like, just even in my job, like, I play music for the kids every day. Like, it's just something that I think builds like enthusiasm and sets the mood. And so, gosh, I would say, I don't know, like 75%. I don't know, a lot.
Wow. Well, that's a very good number. That says something. So then, if you were on a budget, a strict budget, let's say, and they said, okay, you can have, chair covers, and they're $2,000 for the linen, and a crudity tray, and that's $1,200. And would you perhaps maybe cut back on something like that and hire a DJ like you experienced 2 weeks ago at $1,500, let's say? Or would you price shop and go for a $500 DJ?
Well, I would price shop for sure, but like, there's no way I would skimp on that because I mean, and now having had that really positive experience, I'm like, oh wow, that would really, just thinking about events and like having bands play, like either band DJ, to me, it's like, it's all this, it's the same in the sense that I think it like makes or breaks an event to some degree. So I would definitely pay more for that experience for sure.
How about you, Lori? Would you pay more for the event? And what do you think entertainment plays, percentage wise in the success of the event?
I would have to agree with Kelly. It's a huge It's huge. That's what you remember. You remember being out on the dance floor with family and friends and just, you know, being so happy and energetic. I mean, that's like my favorite part. I don't really care so much about the food at a wedding. I know that's terrible, but I am the first one out on the dance floor. That's my jam. So I think that would be the most important part for me. And previously, going to those events where it was not that great, I just thought this is the way it is, you know, lackluster to say the least, until I started watching these videos on YouTube. And they have these things called gig logs where they show the prep, getting ready for the wedding. It's so enjoyable. Just seeing what they go through and the preparation. And then when everybody is rocking the dance floor, I mean, it's fantastic. And so I think it's.
Would it be fair to say to you too that you remembered the experience with the music more than you remembered what the tablecloths looked like or whether the chairs had covers?
Yeah.
The lighting and the music.
No, I mean, seriously, though, do you remember past events? Like, is that a memory for you? Like, oh, the tablecloths were lovely and, oh, the flower. Or is it the experience of dancing and the music? Is that the thing that you remember most?
For me, yeah, dancing and the music. Like thinking back on my brother's wedding, I don't remember. I barely even remember like the color scheme, and I'm wearing a dress that fit the color scheme. But I do remember being out on the dance floor and who was standing next to me and who I was dancing with, and looking around at everybody and everyone I love, and them having a great time. So that was definitely more notable.
It sounds like you had a good DJ there then.
Yeah, that was very good. This is a DJ we went to high school with, and he's a local guy, and he's great.
Very, very nice. Well, ladies, thank you so much for your time. Kelly, it was a pleasure to meet you.
You too.
Lori, thank you so much.
Sure.
And we'll see you folks next week on Hanging Out with Howie. But before we go, I want to share a little something for the first time here before I part. And we are going to be in Atlantic City for Expo in August. So for those tuning in and watching the rerun and those that are watching live now, Tuesday night on August 10th, we're going to be at a club called Beret in Atlantic City. It's a 10-minute walk from the Hard Rock Casino. So we will see you there, and stay tuned to All Things Disc Jockey News TV for further developments on this. And with that, we'll see you next week. Thank you all for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.